in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
of the
United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. This meeting of the Democratic State Committee is being conducted through, as you can tell, a wholly virtual format. Please use your raise hand function to be recognized. When you are recognized, then please unmute yourself. Again, we ask that you stay muted if you are not speaking. If you need assistance with the virtual format, please contact your personal meeting attendant or assistant you've been assigned, and you can find that in the link in the chat or in the email that you just received less than an hour and a half ago. A virtual roll call to formally record members' attendance at today's meeting was opened at 6 p.m. You received an outline and instructions for utilizing the virtual registration process in your DSC update email. Only members who have completed this registration will be formally recorded as present by Mass Democratic Party staff. Members can check if they're registered as present by using the link in the Zoom chat to review the virtual attendance form. At this time, a quorum has been determined, and at 7:15, attendance roll call will be closed. Members who join the meeting after the roll call is closed can administratively be recorded as present, but will not receive a ballot for an election scheduled as part of the business agenda for the winter 2025 DSC meeting. An agenda was sent in the DSC update email on February 7th, and it's available using the links in the Zoom chat, along with the member attendance record for this meeting, also the November 2024 meeting minutes and the treasurer's report. The chair reminds members that you must complete, I'm going to keep repeating this for the next 10 minutes, you must complete the registration process through the link in the chat to be formally recorded as present for this meeting, and at 7:15, the roll call will be closed. You can still be counted as attending, but you won't be able to vote if you're not recorded by 7:15. So we're going to do a number of voice votes tonight, and then, of course, the recorded votes. When I do a voice vote, we are going to invite folks to unmute yourself so that when I ask for a motion and a second, if there is discussion, you can use the raise hand function and you'll be called on for discussion. If there is none, then I will call for the yeas and nays, and I will ask people in favor to say aye, people opposed to say no. Once that is done, I ask you to remute yourself, and we'll go through this each time we have a voice vote. Okay? Okay. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda as outlined. Unmute away. Is there a motion? Someone going to unmute and make a motion?
So moved, Brian.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
So moved.
Second.
Tim McCarthy.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the agenda? I see some people in the chat. Are you hoping to discuss the agenda, or
No.
do you just have questions? Okay, we'll come to that in a minute. All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda say aye. All opposed?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Calling.
I wish this was my ringtone. All of you saying aye. Any opposed?
Yeah.
All right. The ayes have
about
it.
an hour.
Somebody's
So we will. Sorry. We will now ask you to. Another reminder that in 8 minutes we will be closing the registration for voting. You can still count yourself as present, but you won't be able to vote if you don't register by 7:15. Link is in the chat. Before I Rebecca Morse, you have your hand up. Do you wish to be recognized, and if so, for what matter? Can someone invite Rebecca to unmute.
Unmute yourself.
She can. Rebecca? She lowered her hand. Okay. We'll continue. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the meeting for our virtual winter 2025 DSC meeting. Those of you who haven't met, I'm Steve Kerrigan, your proud chair. I want to start by announcing that we have seated 4 new Democratic State Committee members since our last meeting. 2 of our new members come as newly elected members of the Governor's Council, Tamisha Civil of Randolph and Eunice Ziegler of Methuen. We are super excited to seat them. We also acknowledge that another DSC member, Mara Dolan, was elected to the Governor's Council, but has chosen to maintain the seat that she previously held. Also, the Young Democrats of Massachusetts has sent us Ella Hogan of Holden, and the College Democrats of Massachusetts elected a new president, Matthew Marcel of Boston. We congratulate them all and look forward to working with them. So welcome to the 4 of you. Also, at this time, I ask that members observe a moment of silence in remembrance of members who have passed since our last meeting. Frank Bellotti, Robert Cassidy, Mary Gail Kilkinnis, and Walter McDonough. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. You have received a copy of the meeting minutes from our November 2024 meeting in your email, and it's available using the link in the chat as well. And at this point, we're going to have another voice vote, so prepare yourselves. You can also scan, apparently, right there to see the meeting minutes, also in your email. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
Yes.
To accept.
Mr. Chairman.
Except Kenny McCarthy.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion.
Look good.
Anybody second?
Anna Smith.
We'll
Yeah.
second it.
Second, Michael
Kathy
Gilbert.
McCarthy.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Just
Second.
Cannot.
I'm going to ask folks, if you hear somebody say second, we're covered. But thank you. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Sorry, for some reason I keep getting muted. A reminder, there is a link in the chat to register for this meeting in order to vote. You have to do that in the next 4 minutes. All right, we have 4 minutes before that time, and we have much to do. I notice some hands up, so I will. Carlos, do you wish to be recognized, and if so, for what purpose? If your hands are up, I'm assuming that means you would like to.
Can you hear me?
I can. Is there a purpose for which you
it's for the purpose of bringing to your attention that I'm trying to record myself as an attendee for the last 12 minutes. I'm not able to.
Okay, so there's a PMA that's been assigned to you that's in the email you received, and you should be able to. Yes, it is, Jim. I saw the email itself. So can someone look at, is that Rebecca? Is that what you, Jim, we can't hear you because you're muted. Can people record that Carlos is here, Jim Thompson is here? I don't know if Rebecca Morris, if that is the concern.
I'm trying to unmute myself. I'm trying to, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but
okay, because every other time that you've asked for me to respond, like for a voice vote, a thing that comes up says the host will not unmute you at this point. That's happened 8 times since
we've only done it 3, Jim. So
we're working on it. You asked for second for motions and for seconds and for voice votes. Motions and seconds and for
Okay, Jim,
voice
you're unmuted now. So, and this is, do you need help with the registration or not?
I need help with getting the PMA because
Great,
I did
great.
not
Then
receive that
I'm gonna
email.
have your PMA who's listening reach out to you.
Great,
So
thank
we're gonna
you.
move on to the rest of the meeting now. Thank you. Rebecca, do you have something you need?
Issues that we're having trouble with the volume. I'm having a lot of trouble hearing you.
That's going to be on your end on your computer. You've got to increase the volume on your end.
Well,
oh, so don't unmute. Can you unmute her, please?
I have done that.
Then
I'm up at
there's not. I
maximum.
mean, can everybody else hear me fine? It seems as if, yeah, everyone else can. I apologize. There's nothing we can do on our end to amplify my voice on your end.
Okay.
Jesse Gordon, do you have anything relevant to this moment? You're all set?
No,
If it's related to your PMA, they will reach out to you. You just have to.
No technical issues. Everything is wonderful technically. You're doing great. The issue is that you announced that Tamisha Civil is from Randolph. I'm from Randolph.
Okay.
She's from Stoughton.
Great.
Randolph did give her a
Great.
wonderful.
Jesse, I'm going to go ahead and count that as something you could have emailed or texted, but thank you. I appreciate that. Joe Kaplan, do you have something that's relevant that won't come up in your secretary's report? I'm going to remind folks that if you have an issue with your technology, go to the chat box and chat seeking your PMA. They will reach out, and we will, if there are people still waiting to register, you just make sure you're in there and people will register you. Joe, do you have anything that's not relevant, that's not related to that? Because we have a special guest coming on right now, and I just want to.
But can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay, good, because I keep getting a message to unmute.
I can still hear. I can hear you fine, but
okay, all right.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Mel. Do you have something that's relevant to right now, or do you?
Just a quick question. One, are people still able to register? And two, if they're having an issue, why don't they use the form that was put in the chat to be a quicker process to get themselves registered?
Mel, I have said no less than 10 times that the form is in the chat and they had till 7:15. We will extend it for 5 more minutes to give people a chance to sign up. But we can't sign everybody up themselves.
Well, that's true. I mean, it will help in terms of facilitating a quicker process to help people.
We've been online since 6 o'clock for people to register for this meeting. So I don't know how much more time we can give to this process, but we do. I don't know if our guest is on. Roof, is he on?
Yes.
He is. Okay. Great. I don't see him, but I'm assuming he is on. Okay. Roof, can you give me a thumbs up? Is he on?
He's on. He's been asked to be unmuted, so you can go in there.
There he is. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined. We all know our next guest, who is nice enough to join us here this evening. But I have to tell you a couple of quick things, and I know he's got to go, so I'll be brief. Ed Markey is always there for us. Has been always there for us since he was in the legislature and in the House and in the Senate. I know that he is fighting hard for all of us in this new Trump administration because I've seen it firsthand. I was just in Washington last week with community health centers, and Senator Markey, who never is late for anything, was a little bit late, but because he was at the EPA fighting hard at the doors to talk with the scientists and those who are fighting hard to keep our environment clean and to do all the fantastic things that he and President Biden and Vice President Harris did in the last administration. He is a fighter for us. He is a leader, not just here in Massachusetts and in the United States, but around the world on issues like climate and economic equality. He is a great friend to all of us and no stranger to any of us. And so with that, I give you the gentleman from Malden, our great Senator Ed Markey. Senator, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for all of the terrific work which you do every day to fuel the Democratic movement. And we're grateful for your leadership. And you and Adam and the other folks on the MassDems team are an unbelievable force of little d Democratic good. And that is something we are desperately in need of if we're going to fight against the abominations of the Trump administration. And you're right, Steve. Donald Trump is bringing out the Malden in me every single day. My father drove a truck for the Hood Milk Company, and I am just so maudlin right now, just fighting this guy and fighting everything that he is trying to impose upon the American people. And I am just so honored to come before you tonight and share my perspectives on what's been happening in Washington. We knew that Project 2025 was a preview of coming atrocities. And now it is coming to pass. Illegal executive orders, firing government watchdogs, ignoring the Constitution, attacking judges and courts if you don't like their decisions, elevating an unelected, unvetted, unwanted billionaire who stands to benefit financially by invading our government agencies. They've turned DEI into defending Elon's interests. That's what it now stands for. And in 2016, during Trump 1.0, we knew our institutions would be tested. This time around, Trump is more experienced, more extreme, and we are being pushed to the absolute maximum as Republicans stop at nothing to tear down these institutions they have been elected to protect and to serve in. And that's the Republican paradox. They hate the government so much that they have to run for office to make sure the government does not work. And in less than a month, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and their henchmen have cut funding to the National Institutes of Health. Let's make that National Institutes of Hope. Pledge to dismantle the Department of Education. That's Title I for poor children. That's funding for kids with learning disabilities. Cut off the funding for key Environmental Protection Agency programs and fired thousands of employees. That's wind, that's solar, that's all electric vehicles, that's battery storage technologies. That's the future. That's Greentown in Somerville. That's the engine in Cambridge. That's what they're going after. They've halted life-saving foreign aid that feeds starving children and prevents the spread of deadly infectious diseases. Do you know why we spend that money? Because we're the richest country in the history of the world, but we also know that if we fight Ebola in Liberia, or we fight Zika in Cape Verde, or we fight malaria in Senegal or in Nigeria, that we're also fighting it from coming here too, because we're going right to where we can do the best work. And they're not going to stop there. They want to ban public sector unions. They want to bust private sector unions. They want to roll back the most fundamental labor protections we have, including protections for child labor. Come on, is it 1910? It's just unbelievable. They're working to gut Medicaid, scale back policies that make drug prices affordable. They want to make it more difficult for people to get benefits, to feed their families, and keep a roof over their head. And they've led a merciless onslaught against our friends in the LGBT community, making it stand for Let's Go Back in Time, LGBT. That's where they want to go. And it's a time that they want to go back to where they had no right to marry who they love or fully express their rights. And just last week, I went to the headquarters of the Environmental Protection Agency and I demanded that I be allowed in to talk to the DOGE representatives who are inside of the EPA right now, terrifying all of these scientists and who are illegally withholding funding that would keep air and water clean and help save families a lot of money because of the clean energy revolution. Well, I got denied access. And they refused to meet with me because they're doing it under the cloud of darkness. They can't stand the light. But I will tell you this, everybody, I'm not going to stop till I get the answers, until funding gets restored, and until all of the other illegal, unconstitutional power grabs stop. There is no more business as usual, and that means I am voting no on every single Trump nominee. No, because they're all been hired to do his illegal bidding. And we cannot cooperate with anyone supporting these illegal funding cuts because they have no intention of cooperating with us and no respect for the rule of law. And now, with their attempted cuts to the National Institutes of Health, Trump and Musk are taking direct aim at Massachusetts. We rank first per capita in NIH funding that goes to finding the cure for cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, heart disease, strokes, other debilitating diseases that devastate millions of Americans. I've talked to the scientists all across Boston right now. They say if this goes through, it's just going to shut down that research. And we know that research is medicine's field of dreams, from which we harvest the findings that give hope to families that we're going to find the cure for those diseases that have been going through families' history for generations. And it is really the National Institutes of Hope. That's what it is. And they're putting a shadow over that hope. I talked today to 450 scientists from Massachusetts who work on NIH funding. And all I can tell you is these people are scared. These people are absolutely living with a real danger in their lives that they never felt could be present. And that is questioning the very science that they are working on. You know, it's just absolutely unbelievable. NIH funding is the lifeblood of the Commonwealth's innovation economy. It creates jobs, it supports our world-class hospitals, universities, research centers, and biomedical organizations. And not only are Trump and Musk circumventing the law with these cuts, but they're cutting the research for the cures for those diseases. And otherwise, we're going to have to treat all those people. That's not efficiency, that's stupidity. It's not just bad values, it's bad budgeting. You know, Musk says, move fast and break things. Well, that's not in the Constitution. That's just a made-up Silicon Valley silly thing that says you just rumble through things that are absolutely sacred and working and destroy them. And this budgetary bulldozer doesn't stop at our healthcare system. It will come for the Department of Education. He said it again today. He wants to get rid of the Department of Education. I mean, we're the brain state. Education is our calling card. Title I, you know, aid for kids trying to get into college. All of this is at the heart of who we are. And we know that the whole key to equal opportunity and hope for everyone is equal access to education. And so this is just absolutely unbelievable. And it's callous, it's cynical, and worst of all, it undercuts our global competitiveness, hamstrings our educated workforce that will work in the industries of the 21st century. So I'll just tell you, I went out on the floor today to speak against Robert F. Kennedy. We're going to vote at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning on his nomination, on his confirmation for Secretary of HHS. I'm voting no. He's unqualified. He's unserious. He's dangerous. His views on vaccinations are absolutely unbelievable. His knowledge of Medicare and Medicaid is almost, you know, non-existent. And tomorrow, we're going to be having the nomination hearing on Linda McMahon as the Secretary of Education. As you know, she ran the World Wrestling Federation. So that's clearly a qualification to run the education of America. And I asked her point blank in my office last week, do you or do you not support abolishing the Department of Education? Do you know what she said? It's something she'd have to consider. Folks, there's only one correct answer to that question, and she failed it. And that's the most important of tests. No, you're not considering abolishing the Department of Education. I'm voting no on her. No on each one of these people. And what can we do to stop Trump and Musk and the Department of Government evisceration? Well, first, the courts are taking action on Trump's illegal action. Birthright citizenship order, blocked. Federal funding cutoff, blocked. Access to Treasury's vital data system, blocked. Firing 2,000 USAID workers, blocked. Drastic NIH cuts, blocked. And a thank you to Attorney General Andrea Campbell for the great job she did on that lawsuit. Removing public health websites, blocked. And what can we do? Well, first, let's just share all this information. Talk with friends, co-workers in Massachusetts, friends in other states, Democrats, even Republicans. They need to understand just how extreme, how dangerous this administration's goals are. People need to know that illegally cutting NIH funding means more than just removing a couple of administrative roles. It will be the difference in whether or not people live or die. We just have to raise our voices. The stakes are that high. People need to know that Trump wants to increase the defense budget by $150 billion. It's already $900 billion. And tax breaks by the hundreds of billions for the wealthiest people in our country. And where's he going to get the money for all those nuclear bombs? Where is he going to get all of that money for the tax breaks? It's coming out of Medicaid. It's coming out of Medicare. It's coming out of the Affordable Care Act. It's coming out of the Department of Transportation. It's going to come out of clean air and clean water. That's where it's coming out of. For tax breaks, for more nuclear bombs, and for tax breaks for billionaires. We need funding for education, not annihilation. We need Medicaid, not missiles. And second, we need to make sure that we are loud and clear. This is not business as usual. If Republicans won't play by the rules, we can't play by the rules. We got to talk to all of our elected leaders in Congress, tell them that it's time to object to the actions of Trump and Musk. Just stop them. And third, activate your networks in other states to do the same. Democrats have to be united in what we are going to stand for, a chance at slowing and ultimately stopping Trump's Project 2025. We can't agonize, we have to organize. And finally, 2026 is closer than we think. We need all the help we can get in Congress to ensure a resistance that will hold them accountable. I don't need to tell you, you guys are the experts, you're the best, you're the gold standard for Democratic state party in the country. It is just so important for us to find races locally, but across the country that we can win, that we can help with. And let's call our friends in those states, rally volunteers, contribute in swing state campaigns. We need to outwork Republicans in 2026 and take back the House and the Senate. So, my friends, it is just being with you is like an activating fluid on me. You know, I just get energized being with you, and because you guys give me hope. And we're the leaders, we're the revolutionaries. The country needs us right now. Together, let us be first and up to hold the line on these MAGA Republican attacks. Our democracy is counting on us. Thank you so much for all being here tonight. Thank you, Steve. Thanks to all of the great Democrats gathered tonight.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much. I know everyone on the committee applauds you for the fantastic work you do, and I know you have a lot to do. You got to get up early for a 7 a.m. vote. We know you have miles to go before you sleep, as the poem goes, so we'll let you go, but we thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to helping you along the way with everything you're doing. So thanks a lot for putting up the fight.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Senator. So, I mean, who says it better than Ed Markey? Thank you all for joining with me and listening to our great senator. We are proud to call him our own, and he definitely has a lot of Malden in him in this fight. So we're excited for that. You know, folks, since the election in November, first before I do my remarks, we are going to reopen the registration for 5 more minutes. So 7:36 p.m. So if you have joined since this began, you can go in the chat and there's a link if you haven't already had a chance to register, and use the voting registration form that's in the chat. Someone will repopulate that there now for those rejoining. Go in there and sign up. If you have any questions, ask folks in the chat or ask your personal meeting attendant. But we will close it for once and for good at 7:37. How's that? Okay. All right, folks. Since the election in November, I like many of you, I know, have found myself really reflecting more and more on this country, our citizens, and how our nation got the results that we did a few months ago. And every one of those early days, I struggled with the why of it all. And to be honest, I still do. But there are a few things I know for a fact. And I know this one marrow deep. If we let the defeats that Democrats face nationally in November beat us, if we let them discourage us or make us hide If we let them and the loss of the White House, the House, and the Senate keep us on our heels or off our game, then shame on us. Senator Markey just laid out all the reasons for us to fight back, but we don't need those reasons. First, we have a lot to be proud of here in Massachusetts. We had huge gains in November in Plymouth County. We kept the Republicans from getting any net gain in seats in the legislature and held many seats that were in danger. We elected not one, but 2 women of color to the governor's council. One who is not from Randolph, my apologies. And we returned supermajorities to the legislature and all of our Democrats to Washington to stand that line against Trump and his Republican Party. We did lose elections, and there's no denying that. And just as there's no denying that red areas in our state got redder, and areas that have been trending Republican made it all the way there in the presidential election. These facts, for good or for ill, are a roadmap for us as a party to build on our strengths, build back where we lost ground, grow our party Commonwealth-wide. But what they are not is an indication that we can rest on our laurels in any way, because there's no time for that. Now is the time we have to lead. Our lives are filled with the chaos that comes along with the Donald Trump presidency, described very well by Senator Markey, as he and his co-president Elon Musk and his musketeers run around Washington trying to undo all the good work that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did over the last 4 years. But here's the thing, that's exactly what they want us to do. They want us to get caught up in the haze and confusion of their madness. But we know better than that. And frankly, as the saying goes, in knowing better, we do better. Folks, we're Massachusetts. We are the people who said 250 years ago in April that we wanted a tyrant no more as our leader, who struck out against injustice and autocracy, who a year after that said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal. And yes, I do know that that was Jefferson who wrote that, but John Adams wrote the first draft of the Declaration. I always like to give him credit. And I won't go through the rest of the litany of things that Massachusetts is famous for having done first and best, because you all know that list for sure. But what I will say is that when we're challenged, we fight back and we fight forward, which is what we've been doing since November. You heard from Senator Markey tonight all about things that he and his colleagues have been doing. And over the coming weeks, we're going to hear more from our other leaders in Congress, from our governor, from our Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, who, like her predecessor, Governor Healy, when she was Attorney General, wasted no time taking on Trump and bringing him to court when he took action that impacted the people of our great Commonwealth. This work is evergreen, and you all know that. It's the challenge of being an active citizen in a democracy. You know that, and just as you all know that we are at a crossroads in our party and in our nation. Now is the time and the moment to recognize our roles in forging a new future. We can't keep doing the same things and expect a different result. Tomorrow, we will wrap up our 9 listening sessions across the Commonwealth, and then soon thereafter, we'll be launching new and improved efforts to empower each of you, as well as our local Democratic committees, with tools, trainings, and talent to make sure we're ready to win elections from library trustee to legislature and DPW commissioner to governor in the weeks, months, and years ahead. Soon, you'll also hear of opportunities for us to take actions together, as well as targeted actions in our communities. But please, don't wait to hear from us. And I know most of you are not. You know how to campaign and activate in your communities and your neighborhoods far better than we do. And let us know. Be sure to let us know what you need, and we will be there for you. But we just have 629 days until the midterm elections, and many elections happen before then in our cities and towns and around the country. What we do in those days is far more important than what the Republicans do in Washington in defining where our nation goes for decades to come. Hear me when I say that. What we do in the next 629 days to organize, to build stronger, more resilient parties in our communities and in our Commonwealth is far more important than the distractions of things he's going to do. Because if we don't do that work, they're going to continue to win and continue to roll back the progress that we've made in our country. This is our moment. It's our time. It's our moment to strengthen our local committees and give them the real training and support they need to recruit and run strong candidates in municipal elections. 2025 is also our moment to help win back the governor's office in Virginia and keep it in New Jersey, to win judicial seats in Wisconsin and special elections in New York, Florida, Pennsylvania, and across the country. This is our moment of change, to be bold and to be brave, And you're our leaders. And this is a moment for strong, innovative leadership. I ask you all, each and every one of you, to dig deep, see that bolder, brighter future and your role in it. In his State of the Union address in 1944, President Franklin Roosevelt stated clearly what I try to keep at the center in the work that we do together. Roosevelt said that every American is entitled to a right to a useful and remunerative job in the industries and shops or farms or mines of the nation. The right to earn enough to provide adequate food and clothing and recreation. The right of every farmer to raise and sell their products at a return which will give them and their family a decent living. The right of every business person, large or small, to trade in an atmosphere of freedom from unfair competition and domination by monopolies at home or abroad. The right of every family to a decent home. The right to adequate medical care and the opportunity to achieve and enjoy good health. The right to adequate protection from the economic fears of old age, sickness, accident, and unemployment. The right to a good education. And friends, more than 8 decades later, those words still ring true as a clarion call for our party and our nation. Whatever brought us to this mission and this party, with our vast array of differing political ideas and ideals, surely we can all agree on the simple idea that each of us, all of us, have the ultimate right to live our lives in peace. FDR closed that speech that night 81 years ago with a reminder to us all then and now when he said, quote, each and every one of us has a solemn obligation to serve this nation in its most critical hour, to keep this nation great, to make this nation greater in a better world. He was fighting a world war. We're fighting for our future. Franklin famously said that the founders gave us a republic if we can keep it. That is our challenge, and I know you all join me in accepting that obligation. We may have different ways of doing the work, but the work is what matters most. And I know you'll all join me, as you have each and every day since I became chair of this party, in doing that great work. Now is our time. Now is the time to be leaders. And I thank you all for joining me tonight and for all the work that you do. So with that, we will go back to our agenda and take up the secretary's report. So let me scroll to that in our agenda. And if someone could ask our secretary to unmute. So at this time, I invite our secretary, Joe Kaplan, to deliver the secretary's report. Mr. Secretary, take it away.
Hi, Chairman, you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
Awesome. Okay. Well, an error was made in the minutes from August, and I do apologize for that, but we have an amendment here, which I believe you all should have received. I'm trying to open it up. My
You did receive it. Yep. And it's on the screen too. Joe.
Yeah, but it got smaller, so.
Do you need me to read it?
No, that's okay. I'll try. Thank you, though. This happened in the new business portion at our August 23rd, 2024 meeting. The chair recognized Jack Paranek. I hope I'm pronouncing that all right. Mr. Paranek moved for an amendment to the Democratic State Committee bylaws, providing for the inclusion of the YDMA president on the DSC Executive Committee. For those who don't know, that's Young Democrats of Massachusetts. The chair entertained a motion to refer the new business by Mr. Paranek to the bylaws subcommittee for consideration. The motion was made by Mr. Paranek, second, and was so moved by the bylaws committee by a voice vote. And this will be added to the minutes of August 3rd, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this point, and thank you for your report, at this point, the chair will hear a motion to accept the secretary's report amending the August 2024 meeting minutes. Is there a motion? And again, only need one. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank
So
you.
moved.
Motion.
Is there a second? Thank you. If there's any discussion, please put your digital hand up. Sherwood Guernsey, you have a question about this amendment or to the meeting minutes? Is that right? Or are you just voting?
Action items for us in your good, fine speech to rally around and go into the...
Sherwood, could you hold? We're just in the middle of a vote. So,
Yep.
yeah, okay, thank you. We can get to that in a bit. All right, so hearing a motion in a second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you all very much. Okay, just as a note, the time to register has expired. We have 268 eligible voters at this meeting, which is incredible for a virtual meeting. So thank you all very much. I apologize. I should have suspended the rules to allow for Senator Markey, but I hope you'll all forgive me. Let's do, just scrolling. We're jumping around the agenda, folks, so I apologize. All right. So you should have received a copy of the treasurer's report prior to today in your email, and it is also available in the Zoom link. And it is on the screen. So this is a report about our total income, as you can see, are estimated and what it was. This includes coordinated campaign efforts, etc. So, are there any questions related to the treasurer's report? If there is, please throw up your digital hand and I will recognize you in order received. Seeing no questions, all those in favor of I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
I'd like to.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 matey.
Aye.
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 Thank you all very much. I need to consult with somebody for a moment, so I'll be right back. Apologies. Okay. We are done with the treasurer's report. Okay. Now we're on to the chair's report. This January, I informed the DSC Personnel Committee, the subcommittee chair rather, that I intended to put forth the appointment of Adam Roof as executive director for consideration and approval at the winter 2025 state committee meeting in accordance with Article 4, Section 2 of Mass Democratic Party Charter and Article 5, Section A of the MDP bylaws. In April of 2024, Adam Roof was named as the Massachusetts Democratic Party interim executive director after the resignation of Joe Sherlock. Over the following months, since Adam's hiring, he has steered us through a successful state convention, guided our participation in the national convention, and spearheaded our coordinated campaign efforts to elect and support Democrats across Massachusetts and around the country. Helped with an enormous amount of fundraising and other tasks required of an executive director. He has excelled in carrying out every mission, and it is not an exaggeration that we would not be in the position we are in without Adam's leadership. And I know he will continue to do a fantastic job as our permanent executive director. At this time, I would entertain a motion to accept the chair's report and approve Adam Roof as executive director of the Mass Democratic Party. Note that we can do a motion in a second. We can have discussion if people wish, but I would entertain a motion at this time and a second.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion to
Second.
approve.
Second.
Motion to approve.
I
Motion to
second.
approve.
Second.
I heard a motion. I heard a motion and a second. I heard a motion and a second, and we have hands up. I recognize the gentleman from the island, Leon Braithwaite. Leon, unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I've been working with Adam, and I've worked with a lot of ETs over the years, and I just want to think he's a good choice for us to move forward with during this next period of time. And I want to thank you for finding him for us and putting before us to vote for him. Thank you.
Thanks, Leon. Appreciate it. John Bowman, you are recognized. Unmute yourself.
Just a quick question. Was there a formalized job posting in place for this role?
Was there a posting for hiring for this role?
Yes. Yeah.
There was not. So we had to hire an interim very quickly because we had short notice of the departure of our previous, and we had a state convention coming up 6 weeks later. We knew that the hiring process would be long. Adam understood that in serving as an interim, he was in essence on a very long job interview and knew there was no guarantee that this job would continue. But he has succeeded beyond, I think, all of our wildest expectations. So there was not one. But I informed the personnel subcommittee chair of that and of my hope that in the wake of the election that we appointed him and dropped the interim. We appointed him full time.
Is there any rationale for the role not being posted now that your intent is to formalize and put him in a permanent capacity?
My only rationale is what I just said, that I believe he's earned the post. And I'd like the committee, you're certainly within your right to vote this down, and then we will post it and go through a process if that's what the committee desires. But it would be my hope that the committee would go with me on this and allow us to drop the interim from his title and keep him as permanent executive director.
Thank you.
Thank you. Juan, you have to unmute yourself.
Sorry, yes. No, I was just gonna say I'm proud to second this motion. Mr. Chair, Adam has proven himself to be a great leader for our party along with you. And he came on at when we were doing our reorg in Rivera, and that was wild. And sorry, that's my son in the background. And he has been nothing but responsive and incredibly helpful since then. And so I'm just really excited for Adam, and I hope that the committee will vote in support of this.
Thank you, Juan. I appreciate that. Chair recognizes Marcia Finkelstein.
Hi, guys. I'm along the lines of what John Bowman was saying. I appreciate all of the hard work that he's done, that Dylan's done, and I've had really good interactions with him.
It's Adam, not Dylan.
I'm sorry, Adam. Sorry. The point that I'm making is we have to be better. We have to, be more open to a variety of candidates. And for me, and maybe other people on the committee would agree, I feel like it sets a really bad precedent that there wasn't a competitive process. Yes, it was a long application process, but that's the whole point of appointing an interim, is so that like you stop the bleeding, and then you start to bring in new candidates that all bring in a variety of diversity and backgrounds and skills and all that stuff. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that, and I think that we need to, before we agree to this report, I think that we need to consider reopening the process.
Okay.
Again,
thank you.
No disrespect to all the
Nope.
work that he's done. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Amanda Smith, you're recognized.
There we go. I appreciate the points of view on either side of this. I guess where I come down is I think we're in a period of time where we just need to move forward. And I think that I've been really impressed with Adam so far, and especially during the listening tour. I don't think I've seen very many other people deal with an event like that with such patience and professionalism, and just, keeping it moving and just being really on point. It's really hard to do. So I've been really impressed so far, and I appreciate Adam's service tremendously. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. I appreciate it. Melissa, you are recognized.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say real quick that Adam has had a bit of a trial by fire. He was amazing, like just on a personal note. He was incredibly helpful with me when he was just in basically the role, like just appointed at the state convention, and helping getting me sorted out in my mobility scooter so I could best help out. So just at that personally, being able to step up and run with it. And while this is unusual, I think we can mostly kind of consider this as like an asterisk, as in a, like, yes, ideally, this isn't the ideal situation. But I mean, as I say, we live in unprecedented times, so that in the future, with more time, we can very much do a proper search for that. And in the time being, using someone who has proven themselves, as I said, in a trial by fire situation.
Thanks, Melissa. I really appreciate that. That's very helpful. Thank you. Bill Shimmuth. You got to unmute yourself, Bill. There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
First of all, I'm here. I couldn't sign the attendance form, so I wanted everyone to know that I was here. It's not uncommon practice when you have someone who does a good job filling in, to then offer that person the position because they've shown that they've done a good job and earned that. I think that's the case here, so I would support your request.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Representative Hunt.
Hi, thanks. And not to beat a dead horse, but I represent a purple district in Ward 16 in Boston, which sounds a little crazy, but the professionalism of our party right now is at the top. And, the help of Nigel and Adam over my term as state committee man and as chair of Ward 16 in Boston for the last 20 years. I have full confidence in Adam, not knowing him before, but we had a great convention and he's been extremely helpful. So I'm proud to support him today.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate it. Elaine, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would also like to speak in favor of opening the job posting publicly. I have not had any interactions with Adam, and I have nothing to say about his performance, although I love hearing he's been doing a great job. We have been an equal opportunity employment provider in the past, and not posting the job publicly, I think, is a very bad precedent. And we have a personnel committee that's staffed to review and to help with that process. I would strongly encourage us to post the position and have an open process to interview the applicants. And if I'm hearing right, Adam sounds like he will come right to the top of that with no problems. But I think not opening it up publicly is a disservice to the party, and I strongly encourage us to do that.
Thank you, Elaine. I recognize my vice chair, Ms. Kozakowski, my other vice chair, Ms. Kozakowski.
Ms. Kozakowski is here to remind
Mrs. Sorry, Mrs.
Mrs. Same difference. Mrs. Kozakowski, to be formal, I suppose. I want to remind some of my colleagues that have been here for a period of time. I've been a member of the Democratic State Committee since 1988. That makes me ancient history, and I was a kid when I started, and that is the truth. Michael Dukakis pulled me in, but I'm going to tell you, it is not precedent to have a chair of any party across this country, as well as the DNC chair, to not have their choice presented to the body in order to approve that choice directly. This is not a precedent. What had been a precedent in the past was choosing to do a more open process when the chair came in and didn't have someone who was professional, in this case, there's no doubt. And and you guys know me. I don't mince words when it comes to what I think works or doesn't work. This works. I would ask that we call the question, and let's just hire Adam full time and get on with the business at hand, which is winning elections down ballot this year, and then next year the governors and a number of races across the country that we will be sistering in order to help bring back sanity to the federal government.
Deb, can I ask you to hold on your calling the question, because I'd like to call on the, if you don't mind, I'll call.
I will. Fine. Just let.
I'm going to call on Mark DeSalvo, who is the chair of the Personnel Subcommittee, who'd like to make a comment. Mark, are you somewhere? Unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm unmuted. Thank you very, very much. Pleasure to be with everybody today. I'd just like to note two things. Number one, that it is the prerogative of the chair to select the executive director. Number two, that there is no charter or rule obligation for involvement of the Personnel Committee or to require that a posting be made. And then lastly, I would only echo that a battlefield promotion was exactly appropriate at this moment in time.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Deb, I'm going to go to David O'Brien and get his comment, and then we can go to call the question. David.
I was going to reiterate what Leon said. It is the prerogative of the chair. I don't know in my time on the committee whether we've ever had any interview process for this position, and I call the question.
Okay, thank you. I know there are a number of folks with their hands up, so if the motion to call the question fails, we will go to you, so keep your hands up. But at this point, someone has called the question. Jim, do we need a second for calling the question? I don't think so, do we? We just have to call it. Yes for a second or no? Yes. No, we do not need a second. So the question has been called. We do not need a second. So folks, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. All those in favor of calling the question, which just means we end discussion on this and move to the question of whether or not.
Aye.
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 I just.
Aye.
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 Hello, everyone. It's Adam. Is Steve frozen for everyone else, or is that just me? We have a frozen chair, it seems. Let's just give it a second here to see if he can join back on. If everyone could just be patient for a moment. We'll be right back.
Okay, now I'm done from the deep freeze. So we are now the motion to move the question has passed. Now we are going to the question, which is to appoint Adam Roof as executive director of the Massachusetts Democratic Party and State Committee. There was a motion and a second. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Enthusiastically.
Registered that, Kathy. Thank you.
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed? Say no.
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 No. No. No. No.
No.
No. No.
Okay. Well, it's the ruling of the chair that the ayes have it. Okay. So at this time, I congratulate Adam on his appointment as Executive Director of the Massachusetts Democratic Party and State Committee, and ask if you have any words you'd like to offer to the body. The chair recognizes Adam Roof, the Executive Director of the Mass Democratic Party.
Thank you. Let me just say, I'll just take a couple minutes here to say some words. I'm deeply honored and I'm humbled by the trust tonight that you placed in me to serve as will continue to serve as your executive director, but no longer with that interim tag. So thank you, state committee members. Thank you, Steve, Chair Kerrigan. There's no one I'd rather do this work with. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. For me, I want all of you to understand where I'm coming from. This is not a job for me. I feel it to be a responsibility. It's a mission and a continuation of a commitment, a lifelong commitment of the values that I believe, that I think all of us believe, to be the values that will make this world a better place after we're gone. Looking forward, I think we all know that we stand in a moment where organizing and communicating and supporting candidates across the ballot is not just important, but it is essential. And I need not tell any of you that we can't afford missteps or miscalculations. And so, yes, we need to learn and innovate, and we need to win in every way available to us. Our team met here in the office recently, and I want to share with you the goal that we set for ourselves in that meeting, which simply put is to be the best state party in the nation. And in order to do that, we need to build a party that is strong at the grassroots level by empowering our local committees, investing in organizers, and ensuring that every Democrat in every town and city has the tools and training to win. We must sharpen our message and amplify our voices because Massachusetts, we are a leader in the fight for democracy, reproductive rights, economic justice, climate action, and beyond. But we need to tell our story in new and better ways so that it connects with people's emotions. And we need to support our candidates up and down and across the ballot, from school committee races to the state house to Congress and beyond. We need Democrats at every level who will fight for working families, for equity, and a future that works for everyone. And I know that we all believe in this mission, but we won't accomplish it unless we work together, because our party's strength is in its people. It's in you, the state committee members, the local leaders, the volunteers, the staff who give their time, their energy, and their passion to make change happen. It is a team effort, and I'm so incredibly lucky to stand alongside such a dedicated group of people. Before I conclude, I want to call out especially the MassDems staff, because I get the privilege every day to come in and work with Nigel and Alex, Maddie, Tyler, and Brian. They're the ones who are in early and out late, working to respond to your requests, to support your committees, to organize, to run communications, to manage our voter file, and ensure smooth party operations. So my only ask for this committee tonight is to find time sometime soon to simply say thank you to our team, because they do so much work. Once again, I'm grateful for your support tonight and your belief in what we can achieve together. Let's get to work.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. At this time, before we move on to the election, I'm going to recognize our first Vice Chair, Deb Kozakowski, who seeks recognition. Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you. I just want to make a point that was mentioned about that we've never had a process to do an interview of numerous candidates. Again, at the prerogative of the chair, that did happen one time during my tenure. So I want to recognize that it's not unheard of. But again, the key words were told us by our chair of our personnel committee. It is the prerogative of the chair for this particular position. So thank you so much for letting me clear that up. And let's move on, guys.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Kevin Costa, do you seek recognition? If so, for what purpose?
Let me see.
I can hear you.
Okay, yes.
What purpose do you seek recognition?
As a political scientist who's worked with Ukrainian and Russian colleagues going on 35 years now, I want to thank Adam for his humanitarian work in helping the martyred people of Ukraine, who are literally on the front lines of freedom, many of whom who have died even today in defending their country and their democracy. So thank you, Adam. It reflects well on our committee that we have such a person working with us.
Thank you, Kevin. I couldn't agree more. And for those of you who aren't aware, what Kevin is referring to is that in Adam's not so spare time throughout his career, he has created a nonprofit and gone to Ukraine and Poland many times since the war began there to provide aid to those in need, to help set up solar farms for communities to be able to restart when their power grid's down. There is literally no task that that man does not find time to address. So we are grateful to him for that work. And he had an opportunity recently to be thanked in person by the First Lady of Ukraine when she visited Boston. So you're right, Kevin, and I appreciate you raising that. So Dennis Naughton, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
I'm seeking recognition. I have to ask, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yep.
Okay, that's great, because each time that you put up the sign for us to unmute so we can vote, my unmute does not work. I get the message saying the chair is not allowing people to unmute, and that goes in a loop when I try to unmute.
Okay,
So I have not been able to vote. If I may
Dennis,
finish,
well, you may. I'm asking what you. I'm
sorry.
asking. Sorry, I asked what you sought to be recognized for. Is it about the votes that you want to make sure it was recorded? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm more concerned about going forward. Okay?
So that's why I'm
My
about to flag
assistant
for you.
couldn't fix it. Nobody's been able to fix it. I'm disenfranchised each time. So, yeah, I would record. I have not been able to vote on anything since the treasurer's report. Claire has had the same problem. We're not quite sure why it only seems to be happening here. Is it happening to anyone else? I've been in contact with Nigel. He can't fix it. I don't want to waste any more time. I'm just letting you know.
I understand.
That's why I
If
put
you
my
feel
hand up.
like your vote is not being recorded, type it into the chat. We will record it as such, and make sure that that your voice is heard. My apologies. I'm not the tech guy here for sure, but we will work on it.
Okay, thanks.
So
It just
my
seems a
apologies.
little strange that nobody else is having a
Oh,
problem.
no, I'm having a problem. It's okay.
Deb's having the problem, but both of you, I will point out, both of you did it here. So and it happens to me too.
Yeah.
And so I just have to click the button a few times. But that's
Okay,
no
I won't
excuse.
take up any
So,
more time, Steve. Thanks.
thanks, Dennis. No, I appreciate it. But put how you wanted to vote in the chat, and we'll make sure it's recorded. And for Claire too. Okay, thank you. All right, apologies again on the idea of having the all virtual winter meeting was so that we didn't have to deal with everything from icy roads to drizzly noses. So I think the intent is solid. Technology that we all worked so well with sometimes fails us. So my apologies. All right. Next item on the agenda is filling the vacancy on this committee. The seat is vacated. The seat that was vacated is an add-on seat in the category of youth female. During the fall November 2024 DSC meeting, an announcement of the resignation from the youth female add-on seat was received. In lieu of the vacancy, it was announced that an election to fill, or in light of the vacancy, rather, it was announced that an election to fill the vacant seat would be held at the next scheduled DSC meeting, which is this evening. On January 3rd, a submission period to receive letters of intent was called. Any female identifying enrolled Democrat between the ages of 16 and 35 had until January 31st, 2025 at 5 p.m. to express their interest as a candidate. Statements of candidacy from the qualified individuals have been shared with members prior to the meeting and can be viewed using a link shared in the chat. At this time, sorry, my dog is barking. At this time, the chair opens the floor to hear the nomination of candidate. Excuse me, we're in the middle of something. Okay, come on up. Come on. Chair opens the floor to hear the nominations of candidates whose letters of intent have been received. And I'm going to list. All right, so we have received letters from the following people. And so I will, and I think this is what we're supposed to do, hear nominations from the floor for 6 candidates. Rani Balakrishna, Madeline Maddie Bedard, Aaron Davis, Megan Lee, Isabella Petroni, and Morgan Simcoe. So at this time, the nominator for Rani Balakrishna, please identify yourself, unmute yourself, and nominate. Okay, we will come back to Ronnie. Is there a nominator for Madeline Maddie Bedard? Please unmute yourself and nominate.
Hello, can you hear
Yes,
me?
I can.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. My name is Meg Kilcoyne. I'm state committee woman for the Worcester and Middlesex District. I'm also state representative for the 12th Worcester District in Central Mass, and I proudly nominate Madeline Bedard for the youth female seat.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll go back as the nominator for, and I understand this is you do have to go back and unmute yourself. Ronnie Balakrishna is the nominator for Ronnie on.
I'm nominating her.
Thank you. Oh, Kavesh. Okay, got it. Thank you. So nominated Aaron Davis is the nominator for Aaron Davis on.
Well, if she's not here, if she's not online, then I would suggest that you
Jeff,
or,
Jeff, sorry, Jeff, sorry.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We're if you need to, if you want to put your hand
it was an accident.
Thank you.
Chairman,
nominated for, go ahead.
It's an honor for me to be able to nominate Erin Davis for the youth female open seat.
Thank you, Charlotte. We appreciate it. The nominator for Isabella.
Somebody did nominate her.
Somebody did nominate her?
Yeah.
Yes. Nominator for Isabella Petroni.
Steve, it's Jack Lewis, state rep out in Framingham, and committeeman for the Senate district. It is a great honor to nominate Isabella Petroni.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate it. The nominator for Morgan Simcoe.
Hi, Mr. Chairman, Ravi Simon. It's an honor to nominate Morgan Simcoe for the youth female seat.
Thank you, Ravi. Appreciate it. Okay.
Megan
Are
Lee.
there?
Megan Lee nominated? Megan.
Oh, sorry. Did we skip? I thought someone got
Yes.
off.
Skip Megan
My
Lee.
apologies. Megan
Megan
Lee.
Lee.
My apologies. I was
I
just
am-
looking at the script. My
I am
apologies.
very happy to nominate, it's Deb. I'm happy to nominate Megan Lee for this position.
Thank you very much. If you're okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you. I will seek any 6 people who wish to say the word second for these nominations so that we are properly
Second.
Morgan
Simcoe.
Second. All right, we got it. Thank you all.
Second.
Thank you. See, it happened to me. I had to unmute myself again. Sorry. We have 6 candidates who have been nominated and seconded. So the floor is now closed to nominations, and we have 6 candidates nominated. The chair will now recognize each one of these candidates to address the members. Candidates, when you're recognized, you will have 1 minute to speak. And I will recognize each of you in order of your surnames alphabetically. And I believe, and Nigel or Tyler, someone tell me whether I'm keeping time or you're keeping time. I'm glad to, but I just don't. How about this? I'll keep time. It's fine. And then if you keep me in the spotlight with them, I can raise my hand and you'll know when you have about 15 seconds to go. Does that sound good? Perfect. First, we will go with Ronnie Balakrishna. Ronnie, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, Ronnie, I will, we'll start the timer when you start talking.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all for coming together this evening. It's an honor to see you all and put faces to the names that I likely fielded phone calls to over the summer. I was a MassDems intern this past summer. I greatly enjoyed my time. I'm currently a senior at Brandeis University, studying politics, journalism, and Spanish. And I'm the president of the student body. This is my 4th year in student government, and I've learned a lot about budgeting, management, organization, leadership, and communication, and putting that together with the experience I had at MassDems this summer and seeing the state party at work and working on the Democratic State Convention. I really admire and hold near and dear the the mission of electing Democrats to local ballots. And I am really excited to run for this position as I'm interested in a career in public policy. Okay, sorry.
No, that was great. Thanks, Ronnie. Appreciate it. And what I was instructed during that was there is a timer that will be up in the, I asked the other candidates to look for that timer up in the, it's on my right-hand corner. So don't worry. We're going to go with Maddie Bedard next. Maddie, once you're spotlighted, okay, can you see the timer up in the corner? Okay, so I'm not going to wave at you. You've got the full minute whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Madeline Bedard, and I'm running to strengthen our party through grassroots organizing and year-round engagement. I started advocating for my community at 15 years old and have since worked at every level as a field director during the pandemic, a campaign manager, and now as a legislative aide at the State House for Representative Megan Kilcoyne, fighting for democratic policies every day. What sets me apart is my commitment to grassroots development in central Massachusetts. Competitive districts like mine need sustained organizing to keep Democrats winning. That's why I'm already working with local Democratic town committees to increase youth engagement and build stronger support for candidates. As an AAPI organizer and active Leominster Democratic City Committee member, I've focused on bringing new voices into our party and mobilizing young voters. I believe in a statewide approach to engagement, ensuring every region has the tools to succeed. I'm ready to bring my experience, energy, and passion to the Democratic State Committee, and I'd be honored to earn your vote.
Thank you, Maddie. Aaron Davis, you're up next once you're in the spotlight. Hi, Aaron, how are you? All right, once you start talking, the timer will start. Hi. Take it over.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erin Davis. I'm honored to be with you all today to help connect our party to the people. I'm a lifelong resident of Massachusetts, specifically the Boston area, and have been active in our local Democratic Party since the age of 16 when I joined Ward 15 as its youngest member, and have been able to hold executive positions as well as be a delegate for our state convention. Upon graduating from Salem State University, I was honored to receive the John F. Kennedy Scholarship from our state party, which allowed me to work in Washington, D.C. And I've had the opportunity to work at every level of our government for multiple different elected officials, as well as Harvard Kennedy School, Emerge Massachusetts, and Boston Public Schools. Currently, I own my own company with my husband, Anthony Davis Jr., who happened to represent our state last year for the 2024 Democratic Convention. And through the work that I have done with our business, as well as what I've seen in our convention and with our election.
Oh, sorry. It's like the Oscars, apparently. My apologies. During the listening session, we at least play you off with some nice music. My apologies. But I promise you it's better than me waving at you. But Aaron, thank you very much for your comments. Next, we have Megan Lee. Megan, there you are. Now keep a very close eye on that clock. And when you see it again, which I don't see it yet, when you see it again, there you go. Whenever you start, you'll go.
Hi, thank you to Vice Chair Kakowski and MassDems President Pernick for nominating me. I'm Megan Lee, a freshman at St. Anselm College from North Attleboro. I'm a member of my town's DTC and the Women's Caucus Chair for the Young Democrats and endorsed by YDMA, and I am asking for your vote. I'm committed to grassroots organizing, which I did daily this past semester as an organizing fellow for the New Hampshire Dems. I'm also devoted to strategizing positions to amplify youth voices. As a young Asian American woman and a child of immigrants, I know the importance of representation. If elected, I'd more directly represent high school and college students and young professionals on the committee. Lastly, I'm committed to recruiting youth to be active in our party and being candidates themselves. I ran for school committee last spring, and although I didn't win, I was able to mobilize over 200 high school seniors to vote in a municipal election because they felt like they had a stake. Youth are the future, and it's crucial that we are represented. I, Megan Lee, am asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Next is Isabella Petroni. Isabella, once you're on here, once you're highlighted, there you are. Can you see the clock? Upper right-hand corner? Can you see it? You gotta unmute yourself. Gotta unmute yourself. Click the mute button. Did you click the microphone button? It's not working? Okay.
I don't think she can speak.
It's the food that built America. New season only on the History Channel. Dexcom G7 sends your glucose numbers to your phone and watch.
Can somebody help me out with this?
Isabella, I sent you a message asking if you need help. I sent you a private message. I don't know if there's anything I can do for you.
So this is Adam. We have unmuted everyone. We've asked you to unmute. Is there someone that can go next and we'll work this out so Isabella will have her time?
Yes. Isabella, someone's going to work with you on that. Morgan Simcoe. We can go to Morgan Simcoe. Morgan, can we unspotlight Isabella so we can... Morgan, once you see the clock in the corner and you want to begin, you are ready to go and your minute starts.
Good evening. My name is Morgan Simcoe, and I'm here because it is undeniable that our party is at a critical moment, and I wholeheartedly believe I have the background and energy to help us meet that moment together. I've worked as a State House staffer, meaning I not only understand policy and the importance of talking to stakeholders, but I'm also skilled in working with people across the state on issues they care about. From the Blue Hills in Norfolk County and Stonehill College in Easton to Polar Park in Worcester and the downtown area in Salem, I have ties across the Commonwealth. I've been a grassroots organizer and a union organizer, a professional fundraiser, and a communication strategist. I know how to mobilize people. I have fought for affordable housing, more equitable access to healthcare, and workers' rights. And I have the skills that I believe our party needs now more than ever to communicate effectively and have those difficult conversations with our neighbors, and perhaps most of all, build trust and begin to win back the people whom the party has lost. I would be honored to serve with you, and I humbly ask for your vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to go back to Isabella, see where we stand. Isabella. Okay. Why don't we...
So we've
This is a new one for me.
Yeah, we've
Huh?
sorry everyone, just going to jump in here. We're going to make you a co-host, Isabella. So careful with the
Oh,
power.
huzzah.
That
Yeah.
might help. Okay. If there's
Manage your
someone,
power wisely, Isabella.
if there's someone that can still go next, that would be helpful.
There are no more
Right, we'll do that.
candidates.
Wonderful. Just keep an eye out, Isabella, for a request to be a co-host.
We're aware she's still muted, so thank everybody who's sending me helpful private messages telling me she's still muted. We are aware. She is now a co-host. Isabella, give it a whirl. Did
All
you?
right. You've been
All right.
empowered to co-host.
So
but
Isabella, I am going to can you get a message on here, the direct messaging thing? I'm going to send you.
Okay.
Like, so I can't, maybe if you could write it, I can't read lips. But I'm going to send you my cell phone number and you can call me and I will hold you up and you can speak to the masses that way. But I'm going to find you here, co-host. I'm sending you my cell phone number. You see that in the chat? Okay, so you give me a call. I will pick it up and we will endeavor not to shriek everybody's ears out with whatever unnatural auditory noise, which is repetitive, but bear with me, everybody. So are you calling me, Isabella? Okay, because I fear you may just have a technology problem at your house because I'm not getting anything here. Are you dialing me? Okay. All right. Here comes Isabella, everybody. Isabella?
Yes, I apologize.
It's-
My screen has completely frozen.
Oh.
But I don't know
Well,
what happened.
It's quite all right. It's technology that happens. Good news, we can see you moving around. So at least we can everyone, I'm looking at Arthur Powell. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear her? Okay, great. All right, Isabella, someone put the clock up. I feel like I'm running a game show. Someone put the clock up when you see a minute and you start talking, your time will begin. Take it away, Isabella.
Got it. So hello, my name is Isabella Petroni from Framingham. I've always been the youngest in a room when I got into politics, and that makes it clear to me the importance of having youth involved. In 2018, after Framingham became a city, I proposed a youth council to address youth issues. When no leaders took it on, I took the initiative to research and submit legislation to the city council, passing the first citizen-led ordinance. I then was appointed to the youth council and elected chair. And one of the important things about that youth council is that it ensured youth from every district in the city, leading to a higher application rate in the city's history with many submissions from underrepresented neighborhoods. That shows the absolute importance of getting people involved in civic government, especially in democratic politics. There is a need for a fresh perspective at the table. Even within democratic spaces, I often find the discussion and proposed policies feel disconnected from the realities faced by us. I'd be honored to bring that energy and experience and perspective of recruiting youth to being part of the state committee.
Thank you very much, Isabella. I really appreciate it. I mean no harm, no foul, but I'm going to hang up on you now. But we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Now you have my number. You could just save that in your phone.
I can definitely do that. Thank you.
Save that under Jim Roosevelt. No, I'm kidding. It's Steve Kerrigan. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Okay. All right. Let's see. We're in the solutions business, folks. That's what we're in. Okay. Let me go to my script. Thank you, candidates, for your comments. Of course, all the work that it's a really impressive. This is one of these ones where you wish there were 6 spots available. I will take chair's prerogative to point out that the first time I sought to join the Democratic State Committee, I ran for a youth seat. I didn't realize I still qualified, but I did. And I was defeated by 1 vote by a man who went on to become actually was a new state rep, who then went on to become mayor and secretary of labor. Marty Walsh beat me by 1 vote for a youth male seat back 1,000 years ago when both of us were young. At any rate, okay, so here we are. Just want to make sure I am not missing anything in the hands up world of things. Hold on. Go to the beginning. Okay, good. I don't think I am. Okay. All right. Now to the fun. At this time, I need folks to listen carefully to the rules for voting. Once I have given the instructions for voting, ballots will be distributed and the voting period will begin. The members eligible to vote in this election were marked as present by Mass Democratic Party staff during the attendance roll call registration period, which opened at 6, and I think we closed closer to 7:40 p.m. Members who are not marked as present are not eligible to vote in this election, although it does count as them being present at a meeting. Those members who joined the meeting after the roll call was closed can still be recorded as present from an attendance perspective. After this meeting is adjourned, let us know and we will record you as present. You can find out if you were marked as present by using the link in the chat, which I'm going to go check right now and make sure we have all this in here because I got a lot going on. Where's the chat? Stand by, folks. Sorry. Okay, here's the link for the attendance form that is in the chat for you all. So if you have any questions, you can look there. Please do not vote if you are not marked as present. Your ballot will hinder the staff's process for ballot tabulations and will be invalidated. Keep in mind, folks, we will not count anybody who is not on that registered as present prior to the closing at 7:40 list. So even if a guest votes, they will just be discounted. It will just take longer time to count. Members may only vote once for one candidate. The candidate who garners the plurality of the vote, i.e. the highest vote, total vote getter on the initial ballot, would be declared the winner. In the instance the highest vote getters are tied, all other candidates will be removed from the ballot to facilitate another vote with the second ballot featuring the highest tied vote getters. In the instance of a tie on the second ballot, the same process will be implemented until a winner is determined, with the exception of we won't be dropping anybody off. Voting, it is now 8:33. Let's say voting will be open until 8:43. And if you can look in the chat, there are statements from the different candidates. You will have, let's give it to 8:45. You'll have 12 minutes to vote because I'm a generous person. Plus, I like things that make sense. 8:45. You can now click. Nigel has put the ballot in the chat. You can now click there and vote. At the close of the voting, the staff will start tabulating votes and the preliminary results will be announced. We'll now take a 5-minute recess and let's take a 6-minute recess and return at 8:40. And then we'll continue the business of the agenda. It's not on your screen. It's those who are looking for it on your screen. It is in the chat. So if you go to the chat function that says chat, there is a link that Nigel has submitted that says female youth add-on virtual ballot. If you don't, if registration has, I'm sorry, I'm trying to follow the chat, folks, but if you did not make registration by 7:40, then you're not going to get a chance to vote. But the ballot is still in the chat. Oh, no, sorry, they're actually right, folks. It says.
Sorry, folks. Ballot is coming. Give me 1 second.
Stand by, folks. Thank you all for those flags. We live in an imperfect world, but we do the best we can. And on the screen, if you have difficulty with your ballots, you have the name of your last name starting with AC, called Tomas O'Brien, etc. down there based on your last names. They can help you fill that out. See, this is why we gave extra time. So just so you know, you will get 10 minutes from the moment we see the ballot appear. The ballot is in so it now will be 8:45, but we're going to take a 5-minute recess from 8:35 to 8:45 for you to cast your ballot and perhaps take a bio break, and then we will be back together in 5 minutes. Thank you all. All right, we're out of recess now. Voting will remain open for 5 additional minutes till 8:45. If you're having trouble voting, please contact your PMA, who is listed on the slide that you've been looking at for the last 5 minutes. Please be patient. If you have contacted a PMA prior to the close of the voting period, your vote will still be counted. So while voting is tabulated, we'll continue with the business of our agenda. At this time, I hope they voted. We'd like to call upon the co-chairs of our site selection subcommittee, Sally Rizzo and Jason Palich, to give a report on the subcommittee's site selection recommendation for the 2025 Mass Democratic Party Convention. Sally and Jason, are you here somewhere? I suspect you are. Someone help unmute Sally and Jason.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a report tonight from the Site Selection Subcommittee, which met on January 25th for the purpose of reviewing proposals received to host this year's Democratic State Convention. 2 proposals were received, one from Worcester and one from Springfield. The subcommittee found the proposals received from both sites to be comparable in terms of what was being offered, with the chief difference being cost. Springfield this year offered a significant discount on their main rental fee in an effort to earn our business, based on a combination of the steeply discounted rate plus a desire to switch up where we are hosting this event from year to year. The site selection subcommittee voted unanimously to recommend Springfield as the site of this year's Democratic State Convention. I also wanted to briefly update the full state committee on conversations that have been taken over the past few weeks between myself and Sally Rizzo, my co-chair, as well as Kathleen McCarthy and Colleen Flanagan from the Disability Outreach Subcommittee, to try to make sure that the perspective of the Disability Outreach Subcommittee is better reflected in the convention planning process. These issues that have come up in the past related to disability access at our conventions, we know that they've occurred. They're not specific to one site or the other, and it's incumbent upon us as an organization to make sure that we're addressing these issues in the planning process. So just briefly, Kathy, Colleen, and I had a great conversation with Adam and are planning a site visit for both subcommittees in the coming weeks. I'll of course let Kathy and Colleen update on their subcommittee, but I know that they've invited Adam to an upcoming meeting as well. And finally, at our request, the chair has appointed Kathy and Colleen to be members of the site selection subcommittee to make sure that they're a permanent part of site selection proceedings going forward. So that will be the site selection subcommittee report, and happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions for Jason? Sally unfortunately couldn't make it. All right, so I see hands. So properly done. If you have a question, please raise your digital hand. Will Lizier, you are recognized for a question for Mr. Palich.
What is the date of the convention?
Aha. I think that's later in our agenda, but Aruf, are you there?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say it? Well, the date we are proposing later in the agenda is September 13th.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Jeffrey Feldman, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
Yeah, I am the state committee man from the First Middlesex. This is my first time on the state committee. I did sign up for the site committee in part because I want to represent Lowell. And nobody's been in touch with me. Probably part of the problem is me. I just didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. But I wonder if there's still time to take a look at Lowell.
So I
can jump in and first
Sorry,
of all,
Jason,
I think it's 2 things on that. On an administrative level, Adam, if you could just double check our subcommittee roster so we can make sure we have all of our members current. Members should have gotten multiple email notices from me, but certainly we'll check to make sure if anybody's been omitted.
Okay, I got no notice, and I did sign up.
So Jason, I could speak to that. And Jeff, you may have said you wish to serve on site selection when we asked that that survey of folks, but it didn't mean you necessarily got appointed to site selection.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't know the process. I had a
That's
very
fair.
obvious. I mean, Lowell is important to me.
Yes. So
Jason, if I could close that out, all
Yeah.
cities that have hosted this convention in the past 15 years were invited to submit proposals. Lowell did not submit a proposal.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting. I certainly would have kicked some butt if I'd known that it wasn't coming.
Yeah.
All right, I guess
Thanks, Jeff.
yeah.
All right, Mr. Poindexter, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
Just a quick question regarding the Disability Subcommittee. Mr. Chair and Chair of Site Selection, were we able to address their concerns regarding accessibility, facility accessibility and access? We were able to map out a plan so they would feel satisfied with what was being presented within the confines of what's actually available to do?
Briefly, and then I'll turn it over to Adam to add some additional comments. But, one of the main takeaways is that, and I see Kathy has her hand up as well. Many of the concerns that have led to some of the more significant complaints we've had around disability access are addressed in the process of the MassDems contracting with the venue and also in the process of planning the actual event and executing the event. The site selection process evaluates proposals between venues and their capacity to accommodate us, but a lot of the specific issues, it's an ongoing process as opposed to something that was already addressed and done with at the site selection process. And I'll turn it over to Adam for some additional comments on that.
Actually, before we do that, let's turn it to Kathy. Kathy, are you there? Or do you went away? Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Hi. Kathy McCarthy, co-chair with Colleen Flanagan on the Disability Outreach. I had a little synopsis of what it is, but I just want to say thank you to Sally and Jason for suggesting we be added onto the site committee. And thank you, Steve, for adding us. We had, should I just blurt
go right
out
ahead.
what I was going to say instead of out of order? So basically, welcome everybody. I'm Kathy McCarthy, co-chair of Disability Outreach Subcommittee with Colleen Flanagan. And we'd like to let you know that we're having our first 2025 Zoom subcommittee meeting on February 25th. I've sent it out to all the members, an invite. If fellow state committee members want to share our passion for accessibility to all and would like to provide feedback, please get in touch with us or send me an email through Adam, actually would be good. In preparation of our upcoming state convention in the fall, we've already met and are collaborating with our site committee, Jason and Sally, co-chairs, and the amazing Adam Roof, who has sat with a Zoom meeting with Colleen and I as well. And we went through so many of the past issues. And I have strong confidence that Adam has listened and has made note, and it's not familiar to him what the needs are. And so we'd appreciate your feedback, all of you, and advocacy to contribute to the site selection discussion. And we need to take the necessary steps ahead to provide true and safe accessibility for all at our convention. This is a priority, and I believe that Steve and Adam have made it very clear with the site committee that they are too. We'd also, just as an aside, we'd also like to acknowledge our longtime friend and accessibility advocate, Rob Cassidy, who passed away recently. He will be remembered fondly every time we look at a site and have an issue and speak up. So thank you all. And we look forward to be in contact with you and have a positive experience. We have a lot to do, and we need to do it together, as Adam had mentioned. Thank you. And hopefully all of the committee members that are assigned to Disability Outreach has received, maybe yesterday, my invite. If not, please get in touch with me. And anything else, any of you that have any issues, we welcome you and you welcome your feedback. And knowing that this is probably going to be in Springfield, I made note that we don't have any members on the Disability Outreach from western part of the state. So it would be very nice to expand this. So Let us
So
know
noted.
if you're interested and if
Oh.
you really are passionate about accessibility. Thank you. Sorry to take so much time, Steve.
No, Kathy. No, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and it's worth noting that I appreciate that Jason and Sally asked that we add the co-chairs of the disability subcommittee on to the site selection committee. It is not just Kathy and Colleen. It will be in perpetuity. We will work that into our rules that site selection will always have those two co-chairs from disability outreach on that committee moving forward. Jason, anything further?
Nothing further.
Thank you very much, and thank through you, Sally, and the committee for the work that you did. Anything further? If not, I will entertain a motion. Oh, hold on, we'll stand by. I'll entertain a motion to accept the site selections report and approve Springfield as a location for the 2025 Mass Democratic Party Convention. Motion and a second. So a motion.
To approve.
Seconded.
Second.
All right, we have a motion.
Springfield.
Go Springfield, City of Homes. All right, we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We're voting for
Aye.
the convention in Springfield.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Someday I'm going to record all these ayes.
Say no.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Anyone opposed?
Opposed. Opposed.
Okay. The ayes have it. The ayes have it, and we thank the co-chairs and the committee for the work they have done and for the work they will continue to do to ensure a successful convention. So I think I blew some of the spot of the next report, but the next on the agenda is a report from the Rules Subcommittee. The Rules report includes the work of a proposed method for selecting delegates to the 2025 Mass Democratic Party Convention. The proposed 2025 method of selecting delegates was sent to members in their DSC update email prior to the meeting and can be found using the link in the Zoom chat. Brief aside, it has come to my attention that some, I'm sure inadvertently, some DSC members are not receiving our email because they inadvertently, during, I'm sure, the fevered pitch of campaigns, unsubscribed from our list. If you do that, we cannot add you back without your help. So if for some reason you're not receiving those, let our team know over just emailing us at contact@MassDems, and we'll make sure that we get you signed back up. So the chair now recognizes Bill Eddy to give the rules report and top lines from the 2025 method of selecting delegates to the members. Bill, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to really skim through this and only touch on points that are either new or I think will be of interest. This is the method of selecting delegates for caucuses that we will be conducting in the spring. Most of the document is unchanged from our previous platform convention. Number 4 on our first page of the method is the dates. We have put together a window from March 19th through May 18th. That includes 51 days, 8 weekends. We are very aware that April school vacation is in the middle there. We are also very aware that there are religious holidays throughout April. We believe that 51 days and 8 weekends give ward and town chairs plenty of time to schedule. On the second page, number 6, on notice, we have gone between 30 and 7 days. So anywhere from 30 days out to 7 days out, the ward and town chair should schedule a caucus. And also we're keeping the same 30-minute. So let's see, we'll quick get to that. Hold on. So notice is between 30 and 7 days, and no later than March 22nd. The normal process, if ward and town chairs don't schedule a caucus of 10 Democrats for the state party, for the caucuses this year, the party is encouraging town and ward chair caucuses to hold in-person caucuses. Should folks choose to have a hybrid caucus, they will do so using their own resources. voter eligibility. The 16-year-old rule still is in effect, must be 16 by March 29th. The window is still 30 minutes. If it's a 5 o'clock caucus, you must, registration must be open by 4:30, and anyone in line till 5:15. The typical 7 items, nothing has changed, nor has the voting. Look, by this point, we should be well accustomed to the voting procedures of either 2 ballots or 1 ballot. Let's see. We have put in there that the timelines associated with the September 13th caucus that of when credentials will be mailed. Number 19, there is a little bit different, which we do when it is a non-nominating convention. So candidates at local caucuses must be in attendance. We have an exception for military. We also have an exception on non-nomination caucuses, conventions, excuse me, for those caucuses that if we do not have enough candidates present, that you can nominate someone who is not there. Obviously, those who are there are automatically elected, but you can fill the seats with those who are not present. We have the usual of non-eligibility if you've publicly supported an opponent of the nominee. Typical stuff for voting, typical stuff for post-caucus and our fees. Once again, we are at $75 with late fee if you're not paid by September 3rd. Our credentials committee and ex officios are typical, as is our add-on delegates. We will of course have add-on delegates through the state committee process with caucus of Democrats for underrepresented ethnic and racial groups, with our disability outreach subcommittee, with our LGBTQ plus subcommittee, with our veterans and military affairs subcommittee, and our youth services subcommittee. And the rest of this with ex officios is pretty standard. Are there any questions on the method of selecting delegates for the 2025 convention?
So, Mr. Chair, I do see some hands in the air. I will recognize Peter Bakula first. If you lower your hand and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, can you folks hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I've been a member of the Peabody Democratic City Committee since 2013. Serving as the ward chair, vice chair. I've been on the executive board most of my time on the committee. And the thing that has really got under my skin quite often is the fact that our city committee meetings typically have maybe 15 people there. But all of a sudden, at a caucus, we have a room filled with 100 people. So I would love if the state committee could do something and kind of write in the rules that you have to be a regular attendee of city or town committee meetings in order to be a delegate to the convention. Especially the year Mr. Kennedy challenged Senator Markey. My West Branch library was overrun with people I didn't even know were Democrats, just because they wanted to get involved in that event. Personally, I feel if you want to be part of the convention, and be elected a delegate to the convention, you need to be a diehard Democrat, and you just can't be a Democrat come lately. Thank you.
Unfortunately, Peter, and you'll see in item 8 of the rule method of selecting, caucuses are open meetings, and it's not a Democratic Party meeting for the purposes of having a ward town meeting or a state committee meeting. It's open to any Democrat who is living in the ward or town. I don't believe the party has. We would have to make huge changes to our process. I don't believe we're capable of doing that.
Thank you. Steve Leibowitz, you're recognized.
The chair and his lovely pup by his side. Just a couple of things.
He never wants to miss a Democratic meeting, so he's got to be
here. Good taste, good taste. I very much appreciate the ability for us to be able to add on delegates if people are not present. I think that's something that's going to be very helpful. And I would just ask that should we approve the rules, when we approve the rules, that one of the things that goes out to chairs is maybe a one-pager that highlights the changes. We have a lot of chairs that have done this before, and having kind of maybe that cheat sheet that says, oh, here's the things that we've changed would be really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Steve. Next, Marietta, you're recognized.
Marietta.
You gotta unmute yourself. You gotta hit the mute button. There you go.
Got it? Please, what is the window for the caucus? I got March 29th as the end, but when is the beginning?
March 29th is the beginning. It is March 29th through May 18th.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Steve, is Jim Roosevelt?
Mr. Roosevelt.
Is Jim Roosevelt really allowed to ask a question on rules?
You know, he's just trying. Every day is a learning experience for Jim Roosevelt.
Yes.
Jim?
I was just going to comment with respect to the open nature of caucuses. I don't think we could change that by delegate selection rules. I think that is so fundamental it would be a charter change.
Thanks, sir. Okay. Thank you, Bill, and through you, the committee, for the work that you did. Seeing no other.
The help of Mitchell and Adam in the process.
Yes. Seeing no other hands up, the chair will now entertain a motion to accept the report of the Rules Committee and approve the 2025 method of selecting delegates. Is there a motion? And a second.
Second.
Second. It has been moved and seconded. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Whoever does the aye is my favorite.
That would be
Are you going to bed?
Driscoll.
Oh,
Okay.
I better come in and get my
Anyone
stuff.
opposed, say no.
Okay.
The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The 2025 rules for delegate selection have been approved. And the date, yeah. And so with that, I can announce what I've already announced, which is that the convention will be Saturday, September 13th, 2025 at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts. All of this information around delegate caucus windows and all that will be included in an email coming to you very soon from our great friends at the Mass Democratic Party. So at this time, I invite subcommittee chairs to give reports. Materials from these reports will be shared in Zoom chat and be included in the next DSC update if you don't get to them there. I am going to call on folks in the order on my script, and if you don't have a report, that's perfectly fine. You can just wave off on the screen or send me a message. But I'm going to give three in a row just so you all can be prepared. Brian Core for bylaws, Amanda Smith, Lauren Madison for campaign services. Kathy McCarthy already gave hers. So Max German, Charlotte Goler Ritchie. So Brian Core, I yield the floor to you if you have a report.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Seeing the hour is late, I'll keep my report to under half an hour. No, in all seriousness, I just want to report that the Bylaws Committee will be meeting on Thursday, April 10th at 7 p.m. We have the requests that came from the State Committee, which we heard in the amendment to the minutes. We've also had some communications about looking at the bylaws to make sure they're in conformance with changes to the charter at the last couple of state conventions, and specifically specifically around the definition of youth to make sure that our bylaws reflect what we have decided as a party. And there's some other items that have been brought to me that we will be waiting to see. So that is really our report. Very excited to take up what the state committee has asked us to do.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Next, Lauren and Amanda, any reports? And anybody who has questions or seek recognition, you can put your hands up, but Mabel, we're going to get to that after we go through subcommittee reports. Amanda, you're recognized. And so is
Hi,
Lauren.
I'm Lauren Madison. Amanda is here tonight too, but I'm going to speak for us. Very quickly, Organizing Hub has started again. We are making calls every other Sunday afternoon to Wisconsin to support their Supreme Court race, potentially the most important election of 2025. We put a link for the staff to share for anybody who wants to join us, and another link that has a bunch of phone banks that I compiled. If you can't make it Sundays, you can join some other ones hosted by our friends and other organizations. That's all.
Awesome. Thank you. And you guys crush it. We were at the DNC meeting and the ASDC meeting, and chair after chair was thanking us for the work that we did in exporting our activism across the country, and then reminding us of work that needs to get done, but your guys are already on it. So we thank you for that work. So,
That's
and
awesome.
through you, your committee. So we thank you. Charlotte and Max, you are recognized next.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm going to give the report on behalf of Charlotte and I, given the hour. But I just want to say on behalf of Charlotte and I, we're very excited to announce that the 2025 JFK Scholarship and Moakley Internship application is going to be going live starting tomorrow on the MassDems website. Just so everybody remembers, our goal is to elect 2 young leaders for scholarships and 8 young leaders for internships. The scholarships will get $3,000, anything that they can put towards their expenses with schools. And the internships will be for young people to get active and get engaged, working with the party this summer, and get paid for it as well. And so the application deadline is going to be March 21st. And because of that, we're going to ask the help of the committee, and we'll be doing some outreach to you individually, but we need your help spreading this message out, and that the application is out there, the scholarship is out there, and we want young people. So if you have great, smart young people to apply, send them our way, and we'll be interviewing them closer to the spring. So I just want to thank you both, and we'll keep it short with that.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. I know Jim is not able to make it for a labor update. I didn't know if there was anyone who was deputized to give a labor subcommittee. I think he has a local meeting. If not, if there is, let me text me or send me a message. I will go to LGBTQIA plus Dallas Ducar, Diego, or Justin. Anybody present and wish to report? Oh, Dallas, there you are.
Yes. All 3 of us are actually just going to report out real quick, but we'll keep it brief in the interest of time. Just leading off across the country, we're really witnessing right now an unprecedented assault on transgender individuals, from bans on trans soldiers to executive orders rolling back healthcare protections. Federal funding for care is being slashed, forcing providers to cut services, while deep cuts to CDC and NIH really undermine life-saving research. These attacks are really a part of a broader effort to dismantle access to healthcare, suppress marginalized communities, and erode science and policymaking. We know that the American public overwhelmingly opposes discrimination, and the Democratic State Committee has a critical role in fighting back, and the LGBTQ subcommittee stands ready to work with everyone to defend equality and access to care. And I'll hand it over to Diego.
Thank you. I just wanted to let you know we had a great subcommittee meeting, and it was on February 2nd. We had a wonderful variety of opinions, which is always rich. We're working hard on making sure that we welcome people who think the same and also those who don't. And we 3 are working very hard to do that. We know that the public is supportive of some things regarding trans people. We're going to stick to those things. And I will now pass it over to my other co-chair, Justin.
Thank you. And if Nigel, you could put the phone bank link in the chat box for everyone. So there's a lot of energy out there. There's a lot of frustration. You see a lot of it in social media. And the best way to fight back really is to volunteer for these open special election seats, whether it's in Wisconsin or if it's for the open U.S. House seats in New York and Florida. We're hosting phone banks every Sunday at 4:30 all the way through special election day in Florida for the 2 open U.S. House seats. And just want to point out, Democrats flipped an Iowa state Senate seat that Trump won by 21 points. Think about that. So in these special elections, whatever you think the posters are telling you, ignore them because they don't know what they're talking about, number one. And plus, they're terrible at polling Trump, Biden, swing voters, number two. But in the special election season, we can win these seats. And so the combination of low turnout and Trump burnout favors us right now in Florida. And to see Trump raiding the funding for these local municipalities is sending people through the roof on all sides of the partisan spectrum. So join us Sunday, every Sunday at 4:30. And if we turn out every Democrat in those 2 districts, we're going to win them. If we don't win. That's how it's going to work. But you know what? There's no better way of fighting back than using our energy to turn out voters, because everything else we do on social media, we're just complaining to ourselves. You know how the filters work on social media. It's not bipartisan. You're just talking to an echo chamber. So put your energy in these phone banks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to all 3 of you. And that's exactly the point on using those 629 days for the best of our ability for the next 629 days. Next, I will go back to, because Jim is here for our labor outreach report. Jim, go right ahead.
Hear me, Mr. Chairman?
How are you, Jim? I can hear you.
Good, thank you. Just got out of a union meeting a little while ago. Good to see you. Good evening, fellow Democrats. And good luck to the female youth seat candidates. So Labor met last Thursday night where we discussed, among other things, Labor's agenda for the 2025-26 legislative session. We'll have more information to share with you all soon. We talked about current contract fights and labor unrest around the Commonwealth and attacks on labor so far from the Trump administration, particularly related to billions of dollars worth of work and thousands of union jobs in the offshore wind and clean energy industry here in Massachusetts, much of which is in jeopardy now. And given that the wounds from the November election are still fresh to all of us, we also had a lively and lengthy discussion in regards to our party's messaging. At the last ESC meeting in November, Joe Kelly was kind enough to articulate Labor's position on the topic. Given what we've seen since then and since the inauguration, it has only reinforced our position. We ask, how can it be that a majority of voters earning under $50,000 a year voted Republican in the last election when the Biden administration was the most pro-labor administration in 90 years, passing sweeping worker-friendly legislation and having people like former FTC Chair Lena Khan taking on Wall Street and the monopolies? We are the party of the working class, and yet too many voters think our party is out of touch and doesn't care about their needs. And it's not just working class white voters. Virtually every demographic shifted red. Some of the heaviest shifts occurred in diverse geographic areas like the Texas border, southern Florida, and New York City. And here in Massachusetts, it was widespread as well. As Democrats, we stand for social, economic, racial, and environmental justice, and we're proud to fight for marginalized and vulnerable communities. But if we want to make advances on all those fronts, we need to win elections, which is our primary purpose. And to do that, we need to speak to voters in simple language they understand through simple, repeated, easily digestible messaging, which addresses their daily struggles and needs. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jim. And as the son of 2 union members, I appreciate everything you do for our brothers and sisters and siblings in organized labor. So thank you. And for all of us who depend on organized labor for everything that we have in our lives, thank you. All right, next, Martina Jackson for Public Policy.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Policy Committee will be meeting a week after next, and in view of the Trump administration and what we're viewing, we will determine what issues we're going to be focusing on, and probably also include issues that relate to the upcoming gubernatorial race. Thank you.
And I thank you, not just for that fine report, but for the battle scars you clearly have gotten from being a note taker for 8 listening sessions over the last month or two. So we thank you, Martina. One more to go. So thank you so much for all the service you give to the party. Lee Harrison for rural outreach. Lee, I know you're here.
Yes, I am.
There he is.
Yeah, the Rural Affairs Subcommittee met on January 22nd with 41 people from 31 towns to discuss how to grow and strengthen our town committees brick by brick. We began with a panel, Michelle Morantz from Dalton, Patricia O'Connor from Oakham, Andrew LaBerge from Plainfield, Jim Griffith from Dartmouth, Susan Knightley from Granby, and Jim Pimentel from Somerset. We learned DTCs need help, and the new DTCs need more help, from hands-on vote builder training and social media training to how to put together flyers, how to get an EID number from the IRS to open a checking account, all these basic things. So to all of you from small and rural towns, we hear you, we're working on it. But I have to say, if there was ever a time for Democratic town committees to assert themselves and create a visible presence to get people off the couch, to get unenrolled voters to register as Dems, it is now. As Ben Franklin would say, we're clearly in the if you can keep it phase of the history of our republic. People are scared, they're confused, they want leadership. They want to get involved, but most don't know how. We know how. We reach out, hold events, talk about democratic values. My visit to the new DTC in the very small town of Blandford proved the concept. In just a few months, Pam Durska and her group have nearly filled their allotment of 35 members by actively reaching out. As Steve noted, 250 years ago, our colonists in Lexington and Concord led the colonies in rebelling against tyranny. Massachusetts can do it again. Our small towns can do it again. To be blunt, if not us, who? We meet on the 4th Wednesday of the month. Please join us. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. I appreciate you and the rural, as a rural chair myself from a rural community who look out on fields every morning when I walk my dog in our backyard. I thank you and the committee for all the work you do. Marianne Rudder, are you on resolutions? Marianne, do you have a report? Marianne going once. Going twice.
Hello, Mr. Chair.
There you
Sorry,
are.
I
That's
couldn't be
quite all right.
unmuted. There we go.
Quite all right. If you give me a second, Marianne, I can give people warning for next up. Christina Tron, Claudia Porvals, and Mark Lanigan and Leslie will be after that. So take it away, Marianne. Thanks.
Thank you. This, Mr. Chairman, this is not really a report because our committee has not yet met, but I thought it relevant just to mention that our remit is to consider resolutions that are submitted to us. So that's when we meet. It's driven by the submission of resolutions. We do let everyone know that we will consider resolutions prior to the spring, April, and fall, November DSC meetings. And for those, we will set up a schedule of 2 hearings and a subcommittee report prior to those DSC meetings so we can get a report to you in time to share it with the body. The only exception is if the executive committee or another subcommittee refers something to us for resolutions to consider. And I will send to all subcommittee members we have 3 procedural documents that spell this out. Joe Kelly and I shared that to our new committee, some new and some returning, in our welcome message of November 12th. And anyone else can send questions to Joe Kelly or to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Christina Tron. Christine Tron. Christine, are you here? Look at you. There we are. Hi.
All righty. Good evening, all. I just want to say that I think everyone is going to be very happy that we did not meet in person because people like me would be blowing all kind of cooties all through the year. So I'm sitting here comfortably using tissues and whatnot, as you can kind of see. So the other co-chair, Chuck Battle, first of all, he's not able to be on tonight because he suffered a medical emergency today and he's home resting. So he really is apologetic that he was not able to be here right now. So we briefly we had a teleconference the other day, Chuck and I, and we discussed how we're going to move forward. Briefly, we want to research, he and I, how the current federal administration's policies are going to adversely affect the military, veterans, and their families. And we're going to draft points for discussion and send them out to subcommittee members for review in preparation for a Zoom meeting within the next 4 or 5 weeks. In short, we have a concept of a plan.
Well played.
So, and then the other 3 points that we briefly discussed is outreach to all of the Democratic town and city committees to see how we can engage veterans in the community, the outreach to them, and try to get them in those communities to join those town and city committees so that their voices are heard. We also want to disseminate the provisions of the HERO Act to all of the subcommittee members, emphasizing the importance of implementation of at least key provisions and identify the current federal administration's policies that may affect those provisions. And then we're going to identify a date and time for the Zoom. So that is my report. Submit it,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Christine. Appreciate it. Please extend through me the well wishes of the entire Democratic State Committee to Chuck, who I always enjoy spending time with. I also joke with him the first time I met him. He is the best name for a veteran, Chuck Battle, because he is always ready for the fight. And so we thank him and give him our best wishes, please. Claudia Porvalis is on here. There, wow, that was fast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So again, Claudia Porvalis
and
Norma Schulman. Yes. So from the first Suffolk, and Norma and I are so excited. We just love working with Norma. She's the best. We're having a great time chairing the women's subcommittee, doing some fun things. We had a fantastic event on Thursday that kicked off our Her Path to Politics conversation series, a conversation with women electeds in Massachusetts. Thank you to those of you who came. I know specifically I saw Julie Curtis, Charlotte Guller-Ritchie, Sharon Stout, and Carol Donovan. I think others were there as well from this group, but thank you all for coming. We had over 60 people RSVP, probably about 35 came. And our first speaker was Kate Lippert-Garabedian, from State Representative from Melrose, parts of Wakefield, Malden. Honestly, she was great. I mean, the recording, we put it in there. She was just really interesting, great path to politics, things she's working on, very impressive. This will be hopefully a bi-monthly series. We're looking at a couple other elected women officials to participate probably in April or June. So when you do receive information about it, please forward it on. It was a great mix of people there, some who'd never heard of Kate, and this was their first exposure to her. So it was a wonderful conversation. And again, Norma and I are enjoying these programs. So any other ideas, feel free to contact us, but we hope to see you in April.
Can we add a special thanks to Maddie and Tyler?
Yes, sorry. I had that. Maddie, Tyler, and Adam Roof. Thank you again for everything. Maddie set up Mobilize. Norma did that you guys were great with that. So thank you.
And the link to the recording is in the chat right now. Tyler just posted it. So everyone click on that. Watch it later. There's still more meeting, but the link to the recording is there. Thank you both very much for all you're doing and the innovative programming. So I apologize. I told Claudia I was going to try to jump on the beginning of it, but I was in Washington at a conference and am terrible at keeping my own schedule. So I apologize. All right. With that, last but definitely not least, our youth outreach group, Mark Lanigan, Leslie. Is Leslie Templeton, is she here? Well, Mark, it's all up to you now.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So I'm honored today to be here with Leslie, who's somewhere here on the Zoom, and give our youth outreach report. Perfect. We are a subcommittee that's working and active. First off, I just wanted to say thank you to all the incredible candidates who ran for the vacant youth female seat. All of you, such incredible leaders and candidates. And I would really love to follow up with everybody after this to make sure that we're incorporating all of your incredible ideas and your experiences into our youth outreach work. So we should all connect after this. And to get into the business of the subcommittee that we've been involved in since the last meeting, importantly, we got together the presidents of Young Democrats of Massachusetts, College Democrats of Massachusetts, and Massachusetts High School Democrats for the first time in who knows how long. And we set up regular recurring check-ins between the organizations to facilitate their supporting one another. And the goal there is to rebuild the high school Dems, college Dems, and young Dems pipeline. So we put in place distinct systems to do just that and make sure that it continues for the long haul, to make sure that this is a sustainable pipeline we can build for, getting young people involved in the party and keeping them involved. And at the last state committee meeting, we gave an update that we had formed youth outreach working groups meant to take action and take concrete steps to further our youth mission, recruiting young people, supporting youth organizing, and offering youth development opportunities. These working groups met. We've hit the ground running. I'm happy to report that it's been a major, major success. We're working on a lot of different projects. So thank you to all the working group members for really stepping up to this work. It's been incredible over the past few weeks to get all of this rolling. I'll highlight the first of these, and then I'll pass it over to Leslie. The Youth Development Working Group is working on putting together a Get to Know You event for some of the young DSC members to get to know some of our more experienced DSC members. That will be at our next in-person meeting of the state committee in April. So as a fun, action step coming out of this meeting, we'll be sending around pretty soon ways to get involved in that for everybody on the state committee so that our young members can get to know everybody else on the state committee. And I'll pass it over to Leslie.
Hi, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. As Mark said, we've been meeting with our working groups and come up with a lot of great projects in our youth organizing working group. We are putting together material to help town and ward and city committees grow their youth membership. We're hoping to turn this into a guide, into a webinar for these different committees to figure out how they can utilize these tools to recruit youth and get youth more involved in the party. We will let everyone know when this is happening. I will make sure Mark sends it out and get that all done. We're also in our other working group, youth recruitment. We are working to put together a youth delegate recruitment plan to, again, assist DTCs, but also the party in recruiting more young people to apply to be youth convention delegates. We're also working to put together a social meetup in Cambridge. This meetup is for young people who may not be as politically involved or not politically involved at all, but are left-leaning or have issues that they're passionate about that align with the Democratic Party. Our goal is to get more young people involved who are not the stereotypical, stronghold Democrats, very politically involved, college educated. We're looking for people who may be in labor, who may have gone to a trade school, and non-traditional routes of education. Democrats have a huge hold on a certain demographic on college campuses. So we're trying to not stay clear of them, but change our approach. So we're looking to get people who are outside of those traditional areas. And so we're going to be at a bar in Cambridge trying to get people more involved. Interstate communication with youth leaders. I had the pleasure of talking to Andre at the DNC, who is the Youth Council chair, about how we can work together and disseminate information about what's working, what isn't working. I have been talking to Ken Martin. Me and David Hogg have been chatting about this. I had the pleasure of speaking with Malcolm Kenyatta, who is our other new DNC vice chair, and working with within the Young Democrats of America's structure with organizers across the country. We have seen in certain states that they've been able to make gains in certain populations that we've just been struggling to as Democrats in the youth category. So we're trying to learn from them and trying to apply those kind of lessons here in Massachusetts. I think that's everything. Mark, did I miss anything?
Thank you. Thank you both. You guys are fantastic. Thank you. All right. So we have reached the end of the subcommittee reports. I do believe any other Reports, DNC members, are there any reports from you all? No one had indicated they had a report. So, all right. At this point, we have a result from the election, and I will read it out to you at this point, and then a slide will go up. So the results are the following. Megan Lee, 84. Maddie Bedard, 57. Megan Simcoe, 54. Aaron Davis, 35. Isabella Petroni, 10. Ravi Balakrishna, 4. So with that, Megan Lee has been elected to the newest, to be our newest member of the Democratic State Committee. We congratulate Megan. We thank the other candidates. And as I said during the election, I sit here as the chair of the Massachusetts Democratic Party. And the first time I sought a seat on this committee, I hope it doesn't take you this long, but the first time I saw a seat, I lost by 1 vote to Marty Walsh. So I encourage folks to stay engaged. I've already heard from some folks who were on the ballot and look forward to meeting with all of you if you wish about ways that we can engage and stay active in the party. So congratulate all of you. I will repeat the totals as a request from one of our members. And we'll put up I think we're putting up a slide with the numbers, but Lee at 84 votes, Bernard at 57 votes, Simcoe at 54, Davis at 35, Petroni at 10, and Balakrishna at 4. Okay. All right. With that, Mabel, I see your hand up. I will recognize you. For what purpose do you seek recognition before we go into new business?
Yes, thanks, Chair. My question is personal, but I was not able to get in touch with Brian Core. I'm a member of the bylaw. I was not successful getting in touch with him, and I would like to attend the next meeting. And did he say Thursday, April 10th? And can he send me the link?
Well, I believe he did say Thursday, April 10th. I would
He's
ask
gone.
that you, no, I don't know that he's gone, but I would just ask that you check your emails
Brian.
Yes.
Hold on. I would ask that you check your email. Oftentimes this happens where emails that people don't recognize go into their spam folders. So I would make sure you check that. But Brian will email you directly with the details as well as the rest of the bylaw committee. April 10th is the date. Yes, Brian? Thumbs up?
Yeah. Thursday, April 10th.
Thank you very much.
And if I can just confirm, the email that I've been using is mabel.amar@yahoo.com.
Okay.
Yeah, because I did respond to your email and say that we hadn't had any meetings yet.
We're going to save this conversation for between the two of you. Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you both. Brenda, I recognize Brenda Braithwaite, DNC member. Best person to attend a DNC meeting with. Don't take offense, any other DNC members. We're not in new business
Thank you,
yet. Are you
Steve.
looking to give a DNC member update? Is that?
Yes, I was. I thought
go
you
right
said
ahead.
you didn't see
I-
anyone's hand.
Nope.
Okay, just very brief. The DNC meeting was held on 30th to February 1st in National Harbor, Maryland. We elected new DNC offices. It took a record 12 hours and 37 minutes to do it. I'm not going to read the names of the new offices. We can forward to you Secretary Ray's summary of the DNC meeting, and you can read the names at your leisure. What I did want to highlight is the fact that your DNC representatives submitted 8 resolutions, commemorative resolutions to honor Democratic leaders and activists who we lost this past year. And those include Frank Bellotti, Bill Delahunt, Norma Fenichetti, Gloria Fox, Agnes Ricco, Sarah Ann Shaw, Sue Thompson, and John Walsh. Additionally, Steve wrote a resolution honoring Ethel Kennedy And I'd just like to thank Karen Payne, Deb Kozakowski, and David O'Brien for all their work in helping to draft these resolutions.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
And I will use a moment of personal privilege to thank our DNC members. We have 10 voting DNC members who were able to, well, 9 who were able to attend the meeting in National Harbor, Maryland. It was a marathon of a meeting. If you think tonight's meeting was long, don't sign up for a DNC seat because that was a humdinger. But a lot of great work was done, and I was grateful to be with our Massachusetts delegation, as I always am. So thank you, Brenda. With that, we are going to move into new business, and if you have, I have items in new business now. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remind people of our last meeting, where people thought new business was new business that wasn't new business. So new business is something that you couldn't have anticipated in, getting on the agenda in advance, and you would like to offer. I know Mr. Guernsey of the Great Golden West has asked to be recognized in new business. I know Leon has been asked to be recognized in new business. I see Amanda's being asked. If you seek recognition, please use the raise hand function, and I will recognize you in order. Prior to that, I have some announcements for new business for our next meeting. So anyway, I'm going to read it. So bear with me. The Massachusetts Democratic State Committee announces vacancies in the following state Senate districts. The Norfolk and Suffolk, there's a male ballot vacancy. First, Plymouth and Norfolk female caucus vacancy. Hampden, Hampshire, and Worcester female ballot vacancy. Per Mass Democratic Party bylaws, Standing Rule 99-2, a method of filling vacant state committee seats has been outlined, and MDP will announce a period for when letters of intent will be received. That will be congruent with subsection 18 of the Standing Rule. MDP announces June 14th, 2025 as the date of the Senate district conferences to be held. Letters of intent must be received. All of this will go out in an email, so don't feverishly write it down. All of the letters of intent must be received no later than 5 p.m. May 9th, 2025. If no more than one letter of intent is received by the deadline, a conference will not be held. Per Article 10 of the MDP bylaws, the chair shall appoint a platform committee and a chair and or co-chairs for said committee whenever it shall be required by the charter. The chair intends to announce members and chairs of the platform committee along with additional information at the 2025 spring DSC meeting, if not earlier. Our state committee meeting will be held in the month of June within, and I apologize, I think Mark said April. That's a typical timing, but anyway, will be held in the month of June within a congressional district number 4 at a date and venue to be determined and announced. With that, I go to hands that are raised. And on my list, I have Amanda Smith, Sherwood Guernsey, and Leon Braithwaite. Amanda, you are recognized.
This is going to be the shortest thing you've ever had, but I just wanted to make sure, it's not even really technically new business, but I just wanted to make sure that the PMAs for this meeting got the sincerest thanks from all of us, and that they didn't feel like they didn't get thanked. It's a thankless job and they should be thanked. Huzzah.
That is really very kind. Thank you, Amanda. We will all do a virtual clap for the PMAs, and we will thank them for the great work they do, because it is utterly thankless. So thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. Mr. Guernsey, you are somewhere on the moon or circling the earth. Thank you.
I just like to think about some broader issues sometimes.
Need a perspective. Got it.
Right. It's a bad time for perspectives. I want to offer and will offer and do offer a motion for public distribution as follows. We abhor the appointment of President Trump as the president of the Kennedy Center. As with all the president's other destructive actions, it is an affront to the beliefs, the values, and the legacy of our great President Kennedy. I ask that that motion be approved, seconded, and approved and sent out for wide distribution. Thank you.
Thank you. I have asked my dear friend James Roosevelt for advice on that. So if it's okay with you, Sherwood, we will stick by. We're going to go to Leon Braithwaite and be back to that. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Leon.
I can unmute. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was a long meeting in Washington, as you well know, and one of the things I just want to report, I'm first vice chair of the Rural Council for the DNC, and we did meet, and there's a lot going on within the rural communities across the country, and we're going to work, as Lee said, about trying to get more unenrolled people who have been voting Democrat to register as Democrats so we can work with them going forward. But tonight, I'd like to recommend a vote for the longstanding former Secretary Carol Alesi as Secretary Emeritus. Carol has been a DSC member for the 35 years, and Carol has chaired the Credentials Committee for 32 years, and Carol also served as our Secretary for 24 years. Although there's no provision in the State Committee charter, bylaws, or rules to take this action, there is precedent for this, as we did it with former Vice Chair Raymond Jordan, Vice Chair Emeritus. I would therefore like to nominate Carol Alesi to be Secretary Emeritus.
Thank you very much. I will accept a motion to make former Secretary Carol Alesi
moved.
Second. Okay, no, we
Mr.
got
Chair,
it.
I
Very
second that
moved.
motion.
You second it. Thank you, Mel. All right. We
Aye.
are very moved and we are
And
very
thank you,
seconded.
Flores.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Carolina.
Aye.
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 All right. At the risk of anybody getting the honor of Leon Braithwaite, are there any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. And Carol, I believe, is on our call. We honor you with this title, not just because of your length of service, but the dedication and commitment you used every day of your time as secretary and as an active Democrat, dedicated to the party and the causes that we share, not just the ones President Roosevelt outlined, but all the others. We thank you for your service. All right. I see Jim Roosevelt I sent you a text, Jim, but I'm going to just ask you, is Sherwood Guernsey's motion for,
Free consultation from.
do we vote?
I was actually typing a response, but I'm not the world's fastest typist. That's in the nature of a resolution. So under our bylaws, it would go to the Resolutions Committee. However, because of the timeliness, you could take a 2/3 vote to suspend the rules to vote on this.
I appreciate that, Jim. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved. So moved. Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of suspending rules, say aye.
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 Oh, I'm muted.
Aye.
It's the point of voting if you can't.
Aye. Whoever said what's the point of voting if you can't, I could hear you, so you could vote.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I keep getting muted. I get muted in the middle of my vote.
That's okay, Susan, I heard you. All right. Any opposed?
Yes.
The chair determined that the vote to suspend the rule has been met. The rules are suspended, so I will accept a motion to approve the resolution as proposed by Mr. Guernsey of the County Berkshires.
Motion.
Is there a second?
You need a second.
Thank you.
Discussion.
Second.
Honest to God, I know it sounds like chaos, but hearing all your voices is amazing to me.
Could we have some discussion on the motion?
We can now that we have a motion and a second.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Paul Yorkis here. I support the motion, but I would respectfully ask the maker of the motion to include President Kennedy's full name, which he did
Yes.
not include in the motion.
Appreciate it. Mr. Guernsey, will you accept a friendly amendment to your motion?
Absolutely. I think that's
Okay.
Thank
With-
you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Guernsey.
you. With the friendly amendment, I'm assuming you want John Fitzgerald Kennedy and not just John F. Kennedy.
Yes, that's correct.
There we go. So with that friendly amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposition?
Yes.
No? Oh, okay. There's one. With that, the motion carries. Okay. Next up in new business, we have, actually,
Thank you.
Rhonda, I'm going to skip you for a second just to see if we can call on our Secretary Emeritus, newly minted Secretary Emeritus, to see if she has a word to say. Carol.
Just quickly, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of my colleagues here on the state committee. I've enjoyed 36 years of working hard to get our candidates elected, and love working with each and every one of you. And I'm truly honored that you recognize my years of service. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for your years of service. Rhonda, you are recognized for what purpose? This is new business, remember. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay. I wanted to bring up an issue and I'm never sure how to address it, and where the state committee comes into this kind of an issue. I don't know about others and their thoughts and feelings, but I'm very troubled by the governor's recommended budget, particularly as it impacts mental health and substance abuse. And as I say, I don't know the role, if any, that we play as a body to address concerns that are not really representative of our values. An $82.7 million cut to the Department of Mental Health.
Rhonda, I will point out that we are not a policy body, so
okay.
Yeah.
So we don't do anything around issues like that.
It is not the position of the state committee to weigh in on a governor's budget.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Patty Kerwin, I apologize. I had told you I was calling on you next. She said a problem with her hand raising. So Patty, if you're still bearing with us, and then I'm going to call on Brian Core next. Patty, go ahead.
Thanks, Steve. I'm sorry, my whole thing is gone. Anyway, I just was wondering if you could just give us a little bit of information around, can the newly elected DNC chair?
Sure. Ken Martin, I've known for a number of years. He is, was most recently the chair from Minnesota. He was the president of the Association of State Democratic Committees for the last 8 years, has worked all across the country, and waged a very good campaign for chair. There were a number of good candidates, qualified candidates for chair. Ken had a very impressive performance on the first ballot and won it on the first ballot pretty decisively, I think, with 240 something votes cast. So he's a good man, and we hope to get him to New England soon. And we're in talks with him and his office on a regular basis. Thanks, Patty. And so we hope to have him up and around pretty soon. What we did, no one from Massachusetts left DC without reminding people of the work that Massachusetts Democrats do to elect Democrats around the country, and the Massachusetts donors do to elect Massachusetts or elect Democrats around the country. And so I suspect we will see a lot of those folks coming to visit us here in New England pretty soon. Thanks, Patty. With that, I recognize Brian Core from Cambridge. Brian, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In light of the hour, I would make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed?
Yes.
Hearing none.
No. Good night.
The motion is agreed to. Have a good evening, everybody. We are
Good
adjourned.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting.